All right, this is huge breaking news out of the DOJ today, which yesterday brought charges against the Southern Poverty Law Center, accusing them of funneling over $3 million to white supremacist and extremist groups like the KKK. The DOJ alleging that the SPLC used shell accounts and prepaid cards to funnel money to individuals tied to neo-Nazi groups, the KKK, so that they could create a work product that reported on these white supremacist activities. Now, the charges led to immediate blowback from the groups named on the center's so-called hate map, with many saying these charges are vindication for the groups that are on that map. Yesterday, at a press conference with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, the FBI Director Kash Patel announced these charges. Take a look.
What we're here today is to announce what the general just told you. The Southern Poverty Law Center, in a massive, sweeping indictment, has been charged with allegations of fraud and using the banking system to perpetrate that fraud.
All right, here for an exclusive interview, the FBI Director Kash Patel. This is mind-numbing to me, and you have to wonder for what purpose. I mean, they love to put groups and names of prominent conservatives, and over the years they've attacked me, on their lists and smear and slander them. And now we find out that they use a backdoor and shadowy accounts to fund them. Can you explain that?
Yeah, Sean, look, money doesn't lie. The charity that supposedly fought the Klan funded the Klan. The charity that supposedly fought neo-Nazis funded neo-Nazis. The Southern Poverty Law Center ran a methodical, calculated scheme to defraud their donor base of $3 million and lied to them, and used an illicit banking structure system to create shell companies to hide their money and who it was being sent to, specifically for the reason to sow discord and hate into our society. This is the ultimate definition of hypocrisy. And if you look at the indictment produced by the Department of Justice and the FBI, you will see that these banking institutions tie directly the funding mechanisms in which the Southern Poverty Law Center used to fund at least 8 hate groups they supposedly wanted to take out, but they were paying the very villains of our society they supposedly wanted to protect us from. That's the ultimate hypocrisy.
Do you think part of this was to keep themselves in business and create a false narrative that these groups were a greater threat than they are, so that they would bring in more money? Was it all about money? Was it to create a narrative in the country that prominent conservatives or groups, not the extremists, and I make a distinction, not the Klan, not white nationalists, but when they go after, you know, Charlie Kirk, for example, or somebody like him, do you think that was done purposely to diminish their voices for political purposes? Is there any electoral impact to this?
Sean, this was done in a cauldron of hate by the very group that said they were going to eliminate hate. Simply put, remember in Charlottesville in 2017 and the tragic loss of Heather, who was mowed down at a rally where she was counter-protesting. As it turns out, the Southern Poverty Law Center funded one of the operators who stood that rally up. Look at that stark example. That reality, that tragic loss of life is just one instance. These people knew what they were doing. It was calculated. And Sean, they're not stupid. You can't set up shell companies. You can't deceive the financial banking sector if you don't know what you're doing. You can't go out there and get thousands of donations for millions of dollars and use the same media who contributes to the lies that they are propelling, unless you have a sophisticated, complex system to attack the American public falsely, and then allow that narrative to continue by going to your partners in Congress and the fake news.
Can we get an update? My understanding is you now have, when you took over as FBI director, every FBI has a 10 most wanted list. In the 4 years of Biden, they were able to capture 4 of the top 10. Is it true you're now up to 8 out of the top 10 since you've been FBI director?
Yeah, thanks to President Trump's brilliant leadership in backing the blue, this FBI has captured 8 of the most wanted fugitives in the world. We're talking gangbangers, rapists, terrorists, murderers, narco-traffickers, and we even got the Abbey Gate bomber who killed 13 brave Americans. So if we had done that in the Biden administration, that achievement alone would be what the news would be talking about nonstop. The same fake news that strives to attack us and President Trump for this monumental success, dropping the murder rate 20 points, reducing opiate overdoses by nearly 20%, seizing enough fentanyl to kill 178 million Americans, a 38% increase. And Sean, this is the most salient point of all. This FBI, under President Trump's tremendous leadership in partnership with the DOJ, has arrested 40,000 violent offenders. Sean, that is twice as many in 2024. You have to ask yourself about the explosion of crime under the Biden administration, and thankfully President Trump was put in place to tamp it down. This has been the most prolific reduction in crime in U.S. history by any president or any administration delivered by Donald Trump and this FBI. And thank you for covering it, because most of the media won't. All they want to do is continue to talk about how we're weaponizing, politicizing justice,
I've not heard
which
anybody
is also
in the
hypocrisy.
media, except here on Fox. I don't see others in the media, you know, and there are conservative talk radio hosts and podcasters. You know, I'm hesitant to ask you this next question, but I think you might want an opportunity to respond, only because with the New York Times, I remember there wasn't one, but there were 2 articles written about me. If my mother or my grandmother, I don't remember exactly, listened to Sean Hannity's advice on COVID, they'd be dead. And I went to my lawyer, wanted to sue them. I was really pissed off. And at the end of the day, we decided not to go forward with it, but it was such a blatant lie. And I'm reading that they're going after you, that you used the FBI because you didn't like a story about your girlfriend. And is there any truth to that? Because I've known you a long time. It just doesn't sound like you.
Absolutely not. The reality is, and thanks, Sean, is that this same reporter delivered a baseless story which caused a direct threat of life to my girlfriend. And that's not me saying. This individual has been charged, arrested, and is in court. And he said, as a direct result of the New York Times reporting, he wanted to take a rifle and canoe my girlfriend's face. We are going to protect not only me and my loved ones, but every American that is threatened. And the baseless New York Times came in over the top today and tried to delete that past reporting, refused to accept our comments, and refused to turn the attention to the actual court pleadings and the myriad of threats that have resulted to me and mine based on this baseless reporting. But here's the thing. Me and mine are like you and President Trump. We're as tough as they come. We're not going to stand down. We're not going to take it a knee on this one or anything. America elected President Trump to safeguard our communities. And you've seen what we've done. The 43% increase in spies that we've arrested. The children that we have found. 6,300 families now have their kids back. That's a 30% increase from the Biden administration. What the media should be asking is, why didn't they do any of this during the Biden administration? It's because they were too busy bankrolling the SPLC and getting in bed with them.
All right, well said. By the way, 8 of the top 10 most wanted. That's pretty impressive. The crime statistics in D.C. are unbelievably impressive, and places like Memphis and all around the country. Anyway, Director Patel, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, thanks for watching. Check out my new podcast, Hanging Out with me, Sean Hannity. The big interviews, the debates you won't get anywhere else. Like and subscribe for new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday.